That's right. Greetings, fellow volleyball enthusiasts. Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
And it's time for Thanks. So let's talk about Hanks. It's Hanksgiving 2025 with why we're thankful for Castaway. That's right, Dragon. This movie is 25 years old. Can you believe it?
No, I can't.
I think that's is that the age where you can rent a car?
I guess, yeah.
That's congratulations, Castaway. Dragon, I'll go first with my thesis statement on it, and I got to admit, Dragon, one of my resolutions, kind of going into the new year, one of my early resolutions is kind of being honest with my feelings, kind of being upfront, not trying to fake stuff, and Dragon, I have been hyping this up. Like, I've been wanting to do this for a long time. This is all on me. And I'm not going to lie. It's not that I didn't like this movie, but going back to it, kind of felt a little bit indifferent. And just being totally upfront, this might be one of those podcasts where I don't have a lot to say other than like, yeah, it was pretty good. Nah, I'm just fucking with you. I fucking love this thing, dude. This thing held up so well. I'm so sorry, Dragon. I'm so sorry.
I knew it was coming, and I was getting ready to inquire, like, are you really? Like,
Nah, dude. Okay, I have two things to say about this movie, because I have a lot to say, but
it's an island movie, and that's your whole thing.
I know, right? I have a thesis on it. My thesis on this movie is very simple, Dragon. Jurassic Park is what made me fall in love with movies. Castaway is what made me fall in love with film. Like, this movie is formative for me, if that makes sense. Because it's like, oh, this is the movie from, like, the Back to the Future guy, but he's doing a serious movie. And it's got the Forrest Gump actor. Okay. And, like, director style actor. Like, yes, this is what film is. And then also, Dragon, like, I'm just bringing it up now just because I really don't want to bury the lead on it. I'm sure we'll get to it. I'm sure we'll break it down. This is the movie. This is absolutely the movie that made me fall in love with the structure of a time jump. So yeah, I have a lot to say about this. This held up better than I possibly thought it would. Like, yeah, this is just, this holds up like fine wine. It really does. I'm excited to break it down. I'm sorry for the fake out, dude. I couldn't resist. Anyways. Right. All right. So what are your thoughts on it?
Yes, Castaway, it's a Tom Hanks movie that really really puts on display Tom Hanks' skill as an actor. It also shows that Robert Zemeckis, we see him really able to play with like the themes that are like a lot of his work does center around time. Obviously, Back to the Future being the obvious example, but beyond that, though, a lot of Zemeckis stuff kind of plays with time and progression, like the progression, the arc, and the journey of the character, usually by way of time, as kind of like something central to the film or something that really plays into the movie. Because he's very much the Americana director.
Sure.
And I feel he's doing that, but in a little more subtle ways, again, versus like an actual, time gimmick or an actual, this is a story through the decades kind of angle, I won't lie to you. Castaway is not my go-to Tom Hanks movie, but that's in part, I think, because it's just such a harrowing journey. And there's not a knock against the movie. It's just the movie doing a really good job at what it's doing.
I mean, there's a couple moments in here where I was definitely feeling for you with your, with your injury, thing.
Yeah. So, plus a lot of it was real, too, when they were filming. So that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, but I mean, that's nothing against this movie itself. That Castaway is like the definitive, island castaway movie. It is the definitive stranded on island movie.
Yeah, definitely.
If anyone ever asks you what Tom Hanks movie do you watch when you're stranded on an island, well, I think we know which one that is. It's like the stranded on an island movie, and you bring when you're stranded on the island.
Just bring on an existential crisis, like, oh my god, I'm fucking living this.
Well, yeah, that's the whole thing. It'll give you something to shoot for. It'll be Oh, if someone gave you a choice between Gilligan's Island and Castaway, which one are you picking? If you yourself are stuck on the island,
I mean, I gotta go Gilligan's Island, honestly, because it's levity, bro.
but they never get
I mean, I'm
off.
just being straight up.
They never get off the island though.
I know, I know.
Don't you want the hope and the volleyball?
No, I'll take the. I don't know. I get what you're saying, but like for me and my mental health, I would crave comfort television at that point.
Okay, regardless, I mean, pretty much all the strand on island things that we've gotten since, in large part, if not definitively, they're pulling and they're in the shadow. I mean this in the best of ways, like in terms of this is what we need to measure up to. Castaway, think about it. On my side of the fence, you got Arrow literally being a 5 year,
Mhm.
a 5 year adventure of a character in flashback. In that case, in flashback, we reveal what he was doing on that island and etc. For 5 years, very much strong Castaway. There's even a cute little joke in the Arrow show about Castaway, which I always found really cute. I think it's early on, like season 1, where Oliver Queen, he's on the island and he's paired with Deathstroke's on the island, Slade Wilson. So he says, and he kind of laughs to himself. Why are you laughing? He says, like, I'm straight on. My best friend's name is Wilson right now.
Oh God.
So it was a cute little joke that they made. They had the facial hair and everything, kind of like Tom Hanks and the others. There's a lot of similarities there. Point being, that's on my side. And of course, on your side, you've gotten this how many reality shows as well as a big landmark television show that is set with
that I still want to do a
on
recap podcast with you on at some point.
Well, you see my point, though. It's the fact that it shaped the culture in so many ways.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Let's see. Let me check the comments. Okay. Kokias just giving a big old Wilson. Oh, come on, Wilson. I'm sorry.
There's no crying in volleyball.
All right. Kogias says a lot of what I know about Castaway comes from the film being parodied a lot. Yeah, it's funny because I feel like this era in particular, like 1999, 2000 circa, we had a lot of movies that like are legitimately like all-time greats that almost kind of got parodied into oblivion. Like you think like, like the Matrix, which I'm not personally that big of a fan of, but I know its place. You have something like Sixth Sense, this movie, Blair Witch Project. It's all so yeah, it is kind of like a ripe era for that sort of thing. Okay, let's see. Kogias also says when it comes to films about being stranded on an island, I'm a fan of Alvin and the Chipmunks Shipwrecked.
Well, that doesn't surprise me.
Okay. I mean, to be fair, I have not seen Shipwrecked.
Oh,
so
come on.
it might be a masterpiece. I don't know.
Come on.
Okay, well, at some point, the Gilligan's Island gang did kind of get off the island in 2 movies.
That does not. He only has the box sets. He doesn't have the whole. Anyway.
Little Blue, Eli, I absolutely agree with this. I mean, to be fair, I haven't seen Gladiator. That is one of the, I'm just not a Ridley Scott guy. I'm just not. There's never really been a Ridley Scott movie that's amazed me. Like, the best that Ridley Scott has gotten is like, yeah, that was pretty good. So, but no, just from everything I know about Gladiator, I think Hanks absolutely deserved the Oscar for this. Anyways, Dragon, I assume you have some background for us.
I do.
All right, get into it.
All right, so to break it down, essentially after Forrest Gump, Tom Hanks, he read this article about the cargo flights that FedEx had, the idea that okay, so on a FedEx cargo flight, essentially there's I think the most people you would usually have on that flight is like a crew of 6 people or even less, possibly less given how this movie goes. Let's just have like a crew of 6 people with just packages and everything, and he had kind of the thought of like, what happens if one of those flights goes down? What happens to the poor crew? I mean, this is not like a big commercial flight deal that's going to have people searching, timelessly night and day, and there's going to be on the news and everything. What if just like a kind of an isolated kind of cargo plane like that goes down? One of those poor guys, or however many of those poor guys, gets stranded on an island. What do you do with the idea also being FedEx and everything being all the modern this symbol of I'm extrapolating on this part, but I think this kind of went hand in hand with what he was going with the whole themes of like a modern man who is then kind of turned kind of primitive.
Mhm.
The idea of like circa the 90s, like we have, this was like in 95, he's coming up with this, hence the movie setting. Basically, it's like, the conveniency of the 90s and all the modern conveniences that we have kind of leading to kind of having these flights in the first place. What if it led a guy to ruin and kind of being stranded on? So Tom Hanks had the impetus for the idea. So he brought it to one of the Apollo 13 writers, to William Broly's Jr., so that guy. So he basically brought it to the Apollo 13 writer that he kind of butted up to. And the two of them kind of on and off for like 4 years. They kind of went to a writing process on this. The movie ultimately took 6 years to make, but ultimately from development to when they actually shot the thing. But
Can I
4
just
years
make
up,
one quick observation about the FedEx thing really quick?
yeah.
So I just found out about that, like the whole like Hanks was inspired by the article thing, like just today researching.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, Dragon, the funniest thing about that is that even when I was a kid watching this movie when it first came out, when I was like 10 years old, I just assumed that the FedEx thing was like, that's got to be product placement, right? Like, it's got to be just the best product placement ever. So I love that it stemmed from like a real thing.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
sure there was some brand synergy going on. I'm sure they didn't. Obviously, they didn't just use the FedEx company without permission or anything, but still, I love that it started in such a genuine way.
Oh yeah. I just love this. Love like Tom Hanks just reads a magazine. He has an idea for an Oscar-nominated movie. So with that, he and Broly's are writing this kind of on and off again for like 4 years, and they're nailing down basically like Tom Hanks. The way he reflects on it is that basically it was kind of a three-part kind of combination where he, the writer, and ultimately Zemeckis, they were like the three parts, or almost the three acts of the movie in terms of like piecing everything together. Where Tom Hanks clearly had Act One. So he and Broly's together, they had basically, they call an act and a half. And honestly, Tiki, this kind of brings me like kind of almost like when we talk about Shape of Water or something, where it's kind of like it kind of breaks down the two halves. It's like kind of a two-part.
Oh no, this is absolutely a 2-act movie instead of
Yeah.
a 3-act movie. Yeah, for sure, for
So
sure.
so again, it's really hard saying three-act structures. Really, it's two halves, and it
No,
splits very.
I mean, and certain movies are just like
Yeah.
that, and where it's like, because what I liken it to is a play, where a
Yeah.
play is broken up into 2 acts.
Yeah.
I
So
think
that's
Princess
essentially
Mononoke also has that off the top of my head. A very
pretty.
distinct, like Act 1, Act 2.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Mhm.
So that thing. So here, nailing down, they kind of had an act and a half essentially of the movie. So they kind of knew where the second half was going, but they didn't quite have. They did not have the resolutions. That's what they had after 4 years. So Tom Hanks, he pitched this to Bob Zemeckis, which is fitting because he gets the idea for this after he's wrapped up on Forrest Gump. So
Mhm.
Zemeckis probably on his mind. His last huge success.
He's
So
like, hey, I want another Oscar nomination.
sure. So Zemeckis basically he brings up his story concerns, which is like he's very logical questions. Zemeckis asking, okay, well, how's he get off the island? Says, well, we're tossing around a few ideas, and they really had nothing concrete. It was like a lot of like ways in which you could like he would be discovered, he would like that kind of thing. They really had nothing concrete. And then Zemeckis, when he came on the project, he figured out basically that second half of the movie. I don't know if he specifically came up with the time jump or not. I want to say he did, given Zemeckis's flair for time. That really feels like a Zemeckis thing. So I would not be
Oh
surprised if
yeah,
that
definitely,
the
definitely.
time jump idea. I mean, I think Tom Hanks and Burroughs knew like time would pass, but doing a shift the way they did feels like a Zemeckis thing. That's a guess. Anyway,
Totally.
so the point
That
being,
might be like the most Zemeckis thing in the whole movie, I
yeah.
think. Yeah.
So that and obviously the visual style, and particularly the end of the movie, that's all definitely Zemeckis. Anyway, so here's the problem. Okay, so once they had all the pieces in line after the 4 year development process, the problem is they really want to nail down the physical transition on the Chuck character. Uh, But they don't want to do it Jake LaMotta style. They don't want to make poor Tom Hanks like shoot it out of sequence. So some scenes he's gonna have to gain all the weight, some scenes gonna have to lose all the weight.
Right.
Or have to put fake beards on. They didn't want to do that because they knew, like, okay, we put him in the water when he has the beard. And if it's a fake beard and they're shooting in a real island, the beard's gonna wash off every time. It's just gonna be a number of things. And even though, Forrest Gump, there were strides in kind of computer effects, just in terms of like natural makeup and just kind of like in terms of cinematography, there's still only, it's going to be really difficult to do convincingly and all that. So they kind of figured we got to do this as practical as we can. So the only way to do that would be we're going to have to shoot linearly, essentially, and do the movie in the two halves that you see in the movie. So that's a hard sell to Fox. It's a hard sell. Like, hey, instead of essentially like the 6 months to ultimately a year in terms of the movie's turnaround time, the sort of traditionally we're going to need 2 years because we need an extra 6 months for Tom Hanks to grow the facial hair and the beard and everything, and also lose the weight. So we're going to basically need 2 years, which almost no movie studio will ever give you. And basically, Zemeckis had to sweeten the pot to give Tom Hanks the time to actually go full somewhat method with that, where it was like, okay, look, I'm going to have a movie to do in the meantime. So, Fox is going to have the business. It's what lies beneath. So we did what lies beneath in between the movies to satiate them. Meanwhile, Tom Hanks is doing Band of Brothers. Like, he was doing the research trips on the first Band of Brothers, I think. And he actually injured himself. He kind of dislocated his shoulder, which was not helpful. But that was, again, during the off time. It just kind of, anyway.
That might be the most actually method thing that he did, though.
Yeah. So let's see. Anyway, so the writer. So in getting ready for the film, the writer, he and a group of primitive survivalists, they went to the Gulf of California, which it's kind of it's beach. It's not as rough as like the Fiji terrain they ultimately went on, but it's a good basically for a week. So they went there for a week to kind of survive and actually give themselves the experience, and that's basically the research trip for the movie. So they figured out, okay, what's an average Joe going to need in the 90s, in like the modern 90s setting? Like, how is this guy going to survive with all his technical, like the beeper and the pagers and the early clunky brick-like cell phones of the day? How are we going to survive on an island? So, that's basically where a lot of the stuff you see that was that ended up in the movie, that's where they got the idea from. Okay, logically, what do you do for shelter? What do you do for food? How the heck do you open a coconut? All this stuff was figured out in that week, and very serendipitously, a volleyball washed ashore, and they called it Wilson because it happened to be a Wilson volleyball, and that was the impetus for Wilson. Wilson literally he showed up, and they kind of extrapolated from it. What if you were on there for that long period of time, you would befriend that volleyball?
Sure. Obviously, we'll break it down later, but the big thing with Wilson is that, like, as Kogias kind of mentioned, it's been parodied to death, but, like, god damn it, when you watch the actual movie, the emotional impact of it just hits, though.
Oh, yeah. Yep, so, so basically, Wilson ended up being a key character after just being kind of a running gag between the guys where they would play with the volleyball, and then they just kind of formed a bit of, oh, yeah, there's calling it Wilson casually. It's like, what if we were stranded? We called this thing Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
So, this movie, as you can probably guess, very FedEx approved. Initially, they were hesitant about the idea. We don't want to scare people who are going to be on these flights, with the cargo.
Right.
But the Tom Hanks' charm does go a long way in terms of, okay, we like where the resolution is, and FedEx treats them right. So okay, we're all good with this. And they actually have some real representatives and real FedEx people who are actually in the movie. So there's a lot of positive FedEx representation. The original working title of the movie.
You just know if this movie was remade nowadays, it'd be fucking Amazon, and the product placement would be way more over the top.
Well, this movie would never work with Amazon because FedEx actually cares.
Right.
That's the thing. That's the. It's just, Amazon's like, you're just going to throw the packages and just move on. You don't have the opening of the movie if it's Amazon.
Exactly.
Anyway, so you know what the original working title for this movie was? It was really silly.
Oh God, what?
Chuck of the Jungle.
Oh, no way!
It was
that's
from Tom Hanks's his lips, man. It was
Chuck of the Jungle. Wow.
Chuck of the Jungle. Before the George of the Jungle movie happened, I want to note that. Anyway, so they shot the first half. Well,
I
honestly,
mean,
they shot.
it's not even a jungle though. There's like I
I
don't.
know, I
There's
know.
no jungle on the island.
Well,
Anyways,
technically, we
sorry.
don't go into the jungle. The jungle might be there, but
It might be there, but we never see it. We never spend any time there. It's usually just the beach and the cliffs.
all right. So they shot the first half in Fiji during the initial plane crash stuff, and Tom Hanks, he got staph infection, which I'm not saying you see it
Ooh.
in the movie, but I'm saying based on that coral injury, I don't know if that maybe I don't think that was the injury, but it gives you it's very serendipitous.
Uh-huh.
Like basically, he got a staph infection, which put him out of commission for 3 weeks. I forget if that was after the return to Fiji on the first half, but point being, it was not pretty. It was a hair. They're actually on an island, and there is some punishing terrain. Everything you are seeing there, so it's not just like it's not a sound stage, real island.
Uh-huh.
So anyway, so they're smarter from the first half when they come back for the second for the return to Fiji with the castaway looking Tom Hanks. The beard, the weight loss, all that. We have some Alan Silvestri score. Movie gets some Oscar nominations, and as
I
we
mean,
said,
importantly, with the Silvestri score, we don't hear it at all until he leaves the island, which is I'm not a big fan of the score. I got to admit, it's not one of my favorite Silvestri scores, but the impact of that definitely it's
yeah.
All right.
So we get some Oscar nominations, and obviously a definitive Stranded on an Island movie. Bob's your uncle.
Ironically enough, I think a good comparison with the Stranded on the Island, like being like the definitive thing, is like it's kind of like how Jurassic Park is always going to be the definitive dinosaur movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like so, both movies kind of shape me in different directions. All right. Little Blue says, for crying out loud, you should watch Gladiator. It's a masterpiece. It's a top masterpiece. Yeah, no, it just doesn't seem like my thing. I'll probably have to get to it eventually because it's a Best Picture winner. I should see all the Best Picture winners at some point, but Little Blue also says, my parents have each told me that everyone thought Tom Hanks was ill when he wasn't and came out and said it's all for a movie, him being so skinny. I could see that. Anyways. Yeah. Okay, Dragon, let's break it down, shall we?
All right, so overall, I love Act 1 in the first half of Castaway. If I had to pick, I really love the first half. It's nothing against the second half, but just I love our introduction and everything to Chuck Nolan so much. It's 95, he's a FedEx guy. FedEx is booming at this time. The 90s setting holds up, and I think that really does carry the movie pretty well, like historically when we look back on it, because it was very much set, in 95 unapologetically,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And now we look back on it in a quaint, nostalgic way, which adds even more charm to it. Sure.
Yeah, I mean, right off the bat, we're the big thing with this guy, the big theme with the character is the time. He literally has the whole monologue right at the beginning about the time and also control, which I mean, losing time and losing control are like the two big things that ultimately happen to this character. So it's just really cool, kind of like thesis right up front sort of move with that opening monologue.
It's such a remember, Chuck is a character who in this movie does not have a lot, and this is the thing Tom Hanks when he was doing the movie he really did think on, like, I can't, until the volleyball comes into play, he can't be narrating everything he's doing to himself on the island. So there's going to be a lot of silences, and there's going to be a lot that Hanks has to convey. So when he does speak beyond the volleyball, we are going to need to have, a lot of we're going to have to make it count when he does. And he basically opens the movie with this epic monologue, and I love this monologue. It's, it tells us everything we need to know about the character. He has a convoluted job to boil it down. He's an efficiency expert for FedEx. That's really what he is. Mm-hmm. So we demonstrate it with the delivery of the digital clock that has been set off, which is cool, and a very Zemeckis idea that does remind me of the test on the DeLorean with Einstein.
That's gotta be a direct visual reference, right? It's gotta be.
I mean, a little bit. I mean, the clock it looks like a bigger version of what's around Einstein's the little stuff.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
What's funny about this? When I look back, I'm sure Kogias or somebody's gonna appreciate this. But rewatching the movie, it was you know what? This is a really great audition from Tom Hanks circa the 90s to play Clock King in a Batman movie. And I just,
oh my God.
this is essentially Tom Hanks playing Temple Fugit at the top of this movie, and I love it. It's like a Temple Fugit speech.
Also, I do like the visual contrasts we have. We start in freaking Russia, right?
Yeah, we're in Moscow.
Yeah,
Red
yeah, and
Square.
just like snow and everything, and then we get to the desert landscape. I like the fact that let me see. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the shot where we get the title and the last shot are mirrored, right?
Well, we do end on a desert, so I guess if you're saying we start on the desert, then yeah.
Uh huh.
If that's the, I forget what our opening, like, I know what our opening, here's the thing, what I remember from the opening is we have, like, the very Albuquerque verse-esque tracking shot. Before we was even an Albuquerque verse, the idea, we were like, the camera is mounted on the FedEx box, which is a really cool idea.
Uh
So
huh.
that's what I'm remembering. So I don't remember what the opening shot was, the desert. If so, then you're absolutely right.
I'm not saying the opening shot. I'm not saying the opening shot. I'm saying the shot where we get the title.
I think I think so. I think that's
Yeah,
the idea. I
yeah.
think, yeah, there's like a poster or something, right? And then we
Right,
start,
right,
yeah.
right. Yeah.
Then yeah, that's it. And you're right that we do
Okay.
kind of go, yeah. Anyway, yeah. But I love like here the important thing that we hit with Chuck is that Chuck, there is an everyman here. The whole obsession with time and control. I gotta be honest. Saw a lot of myself in Chuck, which makes me worry about island travel. But
God.
not gonna lie. But no, seriously, I love there's some really kind of there's an everyman quality Tom Hanks does play, and seeing that he is a well-rounded character. He's not just okay. This guy is just purely obsessed with his job. He is a workaholic, but we see he is not without feelings. Like I love Nikolai the kid, who's like he's
Uh-huh.
using the demonstration. He has like the prize pack where he has like candy bar, CD player, Elvis
I
CD.
like that. You know what the big respect for the candy bar move is?
It was a full-size Snicker
Yeah,
bar.
it was a king size candy bar.
Yeah,
That's the full respect move right there.
that's the thing. I love that we see that. I love it when a character's really good at what they do, and we see
Uh-huh.
that he's really good at his job. He takes his job very seriously. He's mocked by his coworkers for how seriously and effectively he takes the job. The whole like
I can't
stealing the
relate
kids,
to that at all.
but yeah, the whole steal. Yeah,
No, I'm just that is very much something every job, Dragon. Because you know how seriously I take fucking everything.
yeah, but yeah, the whole
Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
the whole stealing the kid's bike thing, where it says I borrowed it.
Right, right, right. So I think one of the smartest moves that this movie makes is it could have so fucking easily fallen into the trope of like, the Jingle All the Way or the Eddie Murphy Haunted Mansion, where it's like, oh, the
You're my number one.
overworked dad, and he's skipping the big important event. But instead, I love that we subvert that. I love that, like, even with like, I think it's a smart move to have the girlfriend instead of the wife, because that leaves a little bit of ambiguity for the ending, the third act. But then I also like right off the bat when he gets the pager that he needs to he's needed around the holidays. I love that it's like instead of like the whole dramatic like, but you told me that you would be here, Chuck. Instead, we get that great moment in the bathroom, or in the bedroom where they're planning out the schedules. It's like, isn't that a nice subversion? Don't you think that goes a long way towards like we're giving him the self-serious about the work thing, but we're not leaning into the tropes of that.
Like what we're doing with that is really great. She's on board. It's a very adult, grown up relationship where she
Mm-hmm.
realizes, okay, he's going to be pulled away for work a lot, but there has to be a middle ground. And I like that he's actively, yeah, he's not just like saying, "Oh, sorry, I can't do this." He's like, no, he's actively working on, okay, look, let's find a middle ground. I will be here by New Year's.
Mm-hmm.
And he's determined with that. And I love also with his coworkers. I love he has like the coworker with the sick wife, and you see again he is not unfeeling. He is not like, yeah, look, I have a number we might be able to call just like after this delivery. I'll
But
help
that's
you out
also
there.
in some ways like him trying to control the situation again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but again, it's like he's not controlled like like a mean kind of ways. He's trying to like help
No,
it
no,
for
but
benefit.
it's just like his whole life is all about trying to find solutions, though.
Yes, which is perfect for what's going to happen to him. So
Mm-hmm.
it's all
Mm-hmm.
wonderfully foreshadowed. This is why I love Act One because it's a wonderful just kind of
Act One does have
casting.
a lot of really, really good foreshadowing, for
That's why
sure.
I do love the cosmic little Easter egg we have of just it's Christmas. He's from Memphis and he loves the Elvis CDs and we have Tom Hanks. So Christmas, Elvis,
Oh
Tom
my
Hanks.
god! We totally should do it for seasonal shenanigans just for the
No.
I know, I know.
This fight is Tom Hanks, with a cane with a big old snow. The snowman.
Oh god.
Anyway, so he's a guy who's all about having control here, and but he does care about people, and which is fueling again his whole job ultimately is for customer satisfaction with FedEx. But you're right though, he's not like Mr. Jacobs, you're our number one customer. He's not doing any of that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Right.
He's not selling mattresses around Christmas. He's not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but importantly though, with all that, even with that bedroom scene, we see the little choices, the little mundane choices we make in life every day, and we see the consequences that's going to have. Where he chooses work over Christmas, family, and just generally life, and that leads to the consequence that sets him on the path. So the scene of Castaway, in my opinion, it's a very mundane flight.
Mm-hmm.
And Chuck is in the bathroom, he's like just peeling off a Band-Aid off his thumb. And just in an instant, Zemeckis' choice in the directing. No plane nosedives all of a sudden. He's like jettisoned, he's like hanging on for dear life, like sideways. It's oh my god, Zemeckis.
I mean, honestly though, it's not like it's not exactly like a smooth sailing. Like before he goes in the bathroom, like one of the moments I really like is when he goes into the cockpit and he's kind of joking around with the pilots. He's like, hey, like he says something about like, is Santa causing this delay? And
Santa's 8 time reindeer.
Right. But then like instantly it's like the mood is like, no, like we're not fucking around. We're not telling any Christmas jokes. Chuck. Like we're in some serious shit. Yeah. So like even before he goes into the bathroom, there is some tension. And one of the big bits of tension is the locket.
Yep.
And I love the way that the locket is framed.
Well, it's a pocket watch. It's a time thing.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
It has her picture in it. I get why you say lock, but it's just more of a symbol of time with this guy.
I guess I'm thinking Hey Arnold with the locket because it does serve a kind of a similar function.
I think all dogs go to heaven on this one, Tiki.
Yes. But you know what I mean, though. It's like we see we see the locket or the watch, and we see him go into the bathroom. We know that, like, we see the fact that there is going to be turbulence.
Mm-hmm.
We know what's going to happen to this guy.
Yeah.
And so it's like there's this whole, like, it builds up the suspense of the moment so well.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's just still like I love like. Oh boy, it's such a realistic plane crash. I love the brave yet sparse crew that we have on there. Like one of the pilots essentially is like helping him put his mask on and like strapping him down, giving him the emergency raft. Like they get top notch, representation for the FedEx pilot crew here.
For sure.
And just that to me again, I'm just on the edge of my seat when I rewatch it. It's like brace for impact. Like the second later, you hit the water and just like seeing the POV of Chuck, just like it lambasted with the water, like the whole cabin just fills. Here's my favorite bit in the whole movie, honestly. There's a lot of great bits, obviously, but this bit always got me. I love the visual storytelling in Tom Hanks' acting here, where he's under the water. And the fact that it's underwater, and we have such a clear picture of this too, is even better. Despite the fact like a storm, it's night, all this. I love seeing that emergency bag. And the emergency bag has everything that probably could have gotten him off the island. It's like that.
Right.
It's think about this. It's kind of weighing him. It's literally weighing him down. It could drown him. And he's trying to control the situation.
It's almost like the universe itself is like, nah, buddy, you're not getting out of this that easy.
And think about it, he's trying to control the situation by climbing down there to unhook the bag, but the decision is taken out of his hands, like the line severs, and you see him panic, like he's just as like the physics takes hold, and he's like almost like emergency parachuted up to the surface. Like, oh my God, I just love that visual storytelling. And next morning, wakens to the aftermath, just very sparse dialogue, just the logic of.
Do we have any music before he gets to the island? Do you remember?
That's what I'm saying. The Silvestri score in this movie is, we have, aside from the ambient Christmas music that we had, we do have some very light ambient stuff when we're off the plane. I don't think there's score when the plane's going down.
Okay.
What about like before he gets on the plane? Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think the movie has like a little, just some casual score. I think we set up the theme for when we do. There's a little bit of a love theme, which then we bring back
Okay,
by the end of the movie.
got it.
So it's
Yeah.
very sparse. So you're right. It's really barely any Silvestri score, but we do. I think we don't really get the Silvestri score happening until he's trying to get off the island.
All right, we'll break down. I like I said, I have like a couple issues with the score, but again, I do like the. It was just a really, really bold choice to just not have a score for the entire time he's on the island, for sure. Very, very immersive.
So with that, just with the sparse dialogue and everything is just this great logic of like he can't, because he can't talk to himself, because we're doing this great almost silent. Again, the old adage is like, Marco, really good movies.
It's kind of like the first 20 minutes of Wall-E in a way. It's got that like like visual storytelling thing going on.
Yeah, it's like the old adage of like sometimes the mark of a really good movie, really good acting in a movie is when you can hit the mute button and kind of understand what's going on. And I love the bit where visually we show very clearly, very direct, like the beeper is waterlogged. He can't, there's no everything he can use to communicate or like communicate some message. It's off the table. It's gone. He's stranded. You see the thought process, happening for him here. It's great. Like, he is for the first time in his life with that beeper symbol, he is on no schedule. That's what that beeper symbolizes. It's Big Bob's worst nightmare.
Right.
So Chuck,
he's a very Pataki coded character between the locket and the beeper.
Yep. Oh, I shouldn't have had those burritos.
Oh my god,
breakfast burritos. Anyway, so Chuck, I love the initial and logical survival instincts with the everyman thing with Chuck. Okay, so he's on an island. He can't call for help easily, so he's scavenging what he can from the FedEx boxes that are washing on the shore.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that he can't bring himself to open this one specific box because of the wings icon. It's like a symbol. It's like the big religious, illusion we have in the movie. It's like Zemeckis also kind of has a thing about wings and feathers, if you really think about his work.
Yeah, but, you're right. That is one of his. That's definitely one of his recurring symbols for sure.
A little bit.
But
still, though, just the great I love it because it is kind of it's his tether to hope of escape and like so I can do one more delivery.
Yeah, no, and obviously it pays off with the ending too. It's it's a really good motivator for sure.
So just again, the act to me, I think some of the best acting he had like in this act one, in the part one segment is when Tom Hanks finds the pilot that saved his life, who was just in the water, and his reaction, like the silent, like just the initial horror of seeing him floating.
Tom Hanks does a lot of kind of just guttural, verbal reactions without even having dialogue, if that makes sense. Just we got that. We got the tooth scene, which I'm sure we'll get into. Yeah. It's he does a lot just with just making noises with his voice without saying things, which is
about what we've seen.
Long-winded way of saying that, but I don't know how else to say it.
Think about what we've seen Tom Hanks do with the word "no." Just think about that for a moment. Just in Toy Story, no.
Right.
With the fuse going out, with the match.
Yeah.
Anyway, so but yes, between that and just the moment, I was just marveling at this for our Hanksgiving purposes. Just this little bit where he's reluctantly going through the belongings of the dead pilot that saved him, and this little bit where again the dialogue is minimal. This is the only opportunity he can say something to himself before Wilson comes along, and he's saying, "It's not Alan, it's Albert. Your name, because it was probably called Al for short. Like he always thought it was Alan, it was Albert."
Right.
And just he's burying him with the photo of his sons as the visual storytelling there. He's burying this man with as much honor as he can in the moment. He's carving on the rock despite his situation. It's just classy stuff. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
So a thing I love in movies, especially Spielberg movies, this is not a Spielberg movie, obviously, but something that, but this the example I'm about to cite does have Tom Hanks in it, though, with Spielberg movie.
This feels like it could be a Spielberg movie, though.
I gotta take it. I'm not gonna mince words with you. When I was a kid, I really thought Spielberg directed this.
Really, that's funny.
I would have bet you dollars. Here's the thing: there was like an AFI thing they did. I forget if it was for Spielberg, for Tom. I think it was for Spielberg, and Tom Hanks was a speaker. And I saw him there. And I associated this before I saw Catch Me If You Can. I just assumed like, oh yeah, Castaway was a Spielberg movie. That's what I thought because he was there giving testimonial to Spielberg.
And then obviously before this, he would have worked with Spielberg on Private Ryan.
I know exactly. I didn't even. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, but so honestly, both of my Tom Hanks examples kind of have this element that are like the Spielberg movies, and this movie also kind of has, where I love the trial and error and the figuring things out kind of progression that we have here. And this is basically,
yeah, that's pretty much your bread and butter, right?
Yeah. So of course, the two examples that jump to mind instantly, every time I think of this sort of thing with Tom Hanks, especially, is Catch Me If You Can and The Terminal, especially The Terminal, where it's a band of, again, that's a different.
No, you're right. Honestly, Dragon, this movie is in a lot of ways kind of The Terminal on an island, but the island just makes it for me.
So The Terminal is the lot less harrowing version of Castaway, if you really think about it. It's just kind of like, it could be a lot worse than Victor,
Right.
Like, imagine if you weren't able to get off the plane.
All right.
Anyway, but so with that whole Navorsky navigating how how to kind of like survive in the airport in terms of like a food and shelter situation, this is just that to the nth degree in terms of like the SOS attempts, the little bits like the flashlight. He scavenged like things from the pilot's body. He has like a little flashlight. This first night in like this cave that he's used for shelter, he has the flashlight and he fell asleep and it burns out. That and the coconut difficulty. The coconut thing is what the writer went through in terms of like every island logic, everything going off I think collectively going off the Gilligan's Island school of thought, like, okay, coconuts. That's going to be every device, every
honestly,
invention.
Dude, even Survivor, it's like they show them eating coconuts, but they don't show the the actual labor involved with cracking one open most of the time.
Yeah, it's probably like a production system. Like, here you go, coconuts. Everyone take your pre-open coconuts.
Oh no, headhunters.
Here you go. Here's like the coconut brawl, so we can get some ratings. We give this to the girls. All right. Oh my god. Anyway, but yeah, it's the thing of like, we've trivialized the coconut thanks to Gilligan's Island and everything else. Just the idea of like, oh, we can fashion a way off the island with purely coconuts, can't we?
Right.
So just the idea of, okay, coconuts. So we can't drink the seawater. There is milk inside the coconut. How the heck do you open one of these things and it's all furry? Like, how does this even work? So and the whole fashioning sharp rock.
My favorite realistic details is like the gooey sludge inside the crab.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Like the dissatisfaction eating like the little minnow. Yeah. So yeah, that's like the real life.
I think just eating that stuff is also some of the best like non-verbal acting that Hanks does.
Yeah, and again, you see like just the look on his face just tells you everything you need. Like, oh man, this is not as good as it could be right now. But yeah, so all this was like that week on the Gulf of California kind of stuff here, where it was like, okay, well, we're gonna catch fish and stuff, but man, eating raw fish is gonna be a drag. We need fire.
Yeah.
So so the FedEx items, again, this was very much like that evolving methodology thing I was talking about, like the terminal and Catch Me If You Can, like the whole how he forges the checks and stuff, like how we evolve the method. So here it's like, okay, he has like a sharpened rock. After hilariously breaking the rock on the coconut, which I love that as a joke too, by the way, in the movie. Like, you don't expect the rock to break. Anyway, the FedEx items, they serve as all these tools that use him and aid him. And the most useful of any of these tools, aside from Wilson, is the skate, is the pair of ice skates, which has got a blade. He's got a bit
I love how even on a rewatch, I was kind of like, at first, my gut reaction was like, what the hell is he going to do with roller blades? It's not snowy where he is.
And ice skates.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Also, I like these little things, like all the other boxes. We can't give him everything he needs. You've heard the old joke about Castaway, haven't you?
I mean, I haven't heard many jokes that don't involve Wilson. What joke are you?
Okay, so I guess there was a Super Bowl commercial they did. I forget what year they did, and they had a guy who basically they reenacted the end of the movie. And the character, the Chuck Nolan character, it wasn't Tom Hanks, but somebody like going to like the lady and says, "Hey, this got me through my time on the island," and says, "Well, I gotta know what was in it." She opens it up and says, "Oh yeah, there's a cell phone. There was like all like there's like seeds. There's like all this emergency stuff that would have saved him the whole time."
Oh God, that's funny. That's really funny.
Yeah, you can find it. Like, if you type in like Castaway Super Bowl commercial, you'll find
Right,
it.
right.
Anyway, so in that respect, it's like we see all these other items that he found here, and we have to make sure we pare it down. Stuff that he can't really necessarily use, and we have like VHS tapes, but no VCR. We have divorce papers, which is kind of like, again, a bit of a foreshadow for his
I'm not
relationship.
gonna lie, the divorce papers are one of the few things that I think is maybe a little too on the nose.
What do you mean?
I mean, it's kind of just like, hey, do you get it? Because when he gets back to the island, he's not gonna have his girlfriend anymore. I don't know.
No.
I just kind of feel like it spells that part out a little too much.
Well, I mean, Tiki, come on, man. When we see it's like a 4-year jump, I think we can all kind of somewhat assume that's probably where it's going.
We don't know, though. We don't know.
You're right. We don't know. I'm just saying, though, it's a pretty good hint that.
I mean, honestly, the fact that it doesn't go to the reunion is one of the things that this movie subverts, in all honesty.
I think we also have like a kind of a dark joke in the movie. Did I leave the electricity
on? Right.
Well, no. Did I pay the electric bill?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, let's see. So, of course, the most useful of any of the items that he finds. I forgot about this little detail with what we find here. So he finds a gift, a birthday gift I think it's from a grandfather to his grandson, and it is Wilson the volleyball.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that little connective thing. It was a child's birthday gift.
Yeah.
But so this is the co-star of the movie.
Right. I mean, what more can even be said about Wilson? Jesus Christ. Like I said, I think it's been parodied so much. But when you watch the movie, man, you totally get it. Like, and he doesn't really connect with it right away, right? It like he has to kind of literally like baptize it in blood first.
Yeah, that's the thing. So initially, it's like a thing where I think he cut his hand. He just kind of threw the ball just in this like, man, and that's kind of it became blood brothers.
Yeah, so I just I mean, I don't know, just everything about it, like giving it the face, and I love how when he first starts talking to Wilson, he's almost kind of like reluctant to. He's kind of like, I know this is crazy, but like I need this to keep my mind going, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, I just think the element of the story, like it's like I said, it's one of the things that people make fun of a lot, but I just think it's a very natural thing that you would almost need to, just have something to keep your mind bounced off of.
I mean, I think a lot of us, we won't admit it, sometimes we have a dialogue with ourselves, or we're kind of like bouncing kind of like ideas off, or like chastising ourselves for things we should have done. Essentially, it helps when especially if you're in a desperate situation like this, you're going to assign it to kind of the only other object or like nearest thing to a person you can think of. And the idea is this volleyball makes him think of somebody with the name, like the whole, his dentist, who he has the dental problem. He has like the bad tooth, and his he's thinking of his dentist, Dr. Spaulding, which is basketballs. So that's kind of, I love he shares a little anecdote with the volleyball talking about at the beginning of it all. I want to say that I love that Wilson the volleyball ultimately is proof that Tom Hanks can play against anyone. There is no such thing as a bad actor. He can. It's more. You remember that thing that Clint Eastwood did with the chair, right?
Not on the top of my head.
Clint Eastwood one time he did like this event. It felt almost like an art installation. It wasn't like that stupid Shia LaBeouf thing, but it felt like
God.
Essentially, Clint Eastwood had I think it was like a night with Clint Eastwood or something. Basically, he was on a stage. He was sitting in a chair, and across from him was an empty chair, and he basically acted and talked to the empty chair. Wasn't like a ghost or anything. I'm pretty sure.
I mean, that's pretty much what Hanks is doing. Like, honestly, like the only thing separating this from that is just the fact that Wilson does technically have a face and a name.
Yeah, it was a lot less. Honestly, it sounded like it was a lot less personable than the volleyball with the chair. But yeah,
right. But I mean, I think what one of the really core things emotionally is like again, we're kind of at that point where it's like I want to have that discussion on how impactful the time jump is. So I don't want to get too into the second half here, but it's like the stakes of losing Wilson are very, very established, and it leads to like I mean, I truly think what ultimately happened, it's not heartbreaking because it's like, oh no, it's the volleyball. It's heartbreaking because of like it's such an encapsulation on just how much this has messed with his psyche,
Yeah.
But we'll get there.
Like when we introduce Wilson, it's more of like kind of a cutesy kind of thing. He in terms of what he's thinking with the whole lack of control thing right now. He's trying to control his current fate, his current situation, the best way he can. He's trying to control his own survival.
Mhm.
And ultimately, where this movie's going with the whole like the way he kind of philosophizes about the tides, how the tides are really deciding his fate versus just like himself have that's him relinquishing control later on. So here it's like while he still is under the illusion that he has control over the situation, his own survival, Wilson is more of like kind of a cutesy thing, which ultimately, as we get close to the end of part one, it's like, when he discovers fire. I always viewed it on the rewatch, especially. Wilson brought him good luck. It was like a cutesy thing that was kind of maybe a sign of like again, kind of like the initial Wilson in the research trip. Like he just kind of washed up on the beach and gave him like kind of a laugh in terms of the quote unquote harrowing situation. This real harrowing situation, it's like, okay, it's giving me something to kind of take my mind off things and like, hey, I got the volleyball and I finally have fire now. So Wilson's a good omen.
Yeah,
You
for
know?
sure, for sure.
So I love it's kind of funny in the whole this is gonna sound really stupid, but I love that Tom Hanks has his iconic Wilson. Tim Allen also has his iconic Wilson
Yes.
too.
No, you're right. He does.
They both they
I
both
never thought about that.
pretend
Oh my God.
debatably the two most iconic Wilsons you'll ever think of.
That should be a Disney debate: speed round Wilson versus Wilson.
Yep. You remember
Oh,
what
man.
in Home Improvement? You remember what Wilson's full name is, don't you?
No, I don't.
Wilson.
Oh, I don't. Really?
Yes.
Oh man. Are you
Anyway,
serious?
yes.
That's nuts.
Wilson.
This Wilson got so prominent, and specifically Tom Hanks screaming the name Wilson.
Yep.
Oh, that is
I
cosmic.
got to tell you a really quick aside, okay? Really
Okay.
quick. Okay, because I'll never have another chance to explain this. All right, so I don't really watch. I never really watched Last Man Standing, but there's this one clip I watched from this one episode I had to watch. Okay, it was the episode in which they did a meta thing where the Mike Baxter character met Tim Taylor. It was like a reunion for the Home Improvement character. Very brief.
Oh man.
They had little nods here and there, and little cast members showing up in Last Man Standing, and they're from Home Improvement. This is like the one time, like literally, Tim Allen played himself as Tim Taylor, kind of years later, and it's genuinely Tiki. I make no bones about it. The episode's kind of played for last, but there's this one scene. I recommend everybody check it out on YouTube. There's this one scene, genuinely heartfelt, and gives us some great little, it's a little dramatic and heartfelt acting from Tim Allen, where Tim Allen is basically like talking to himself. But again, they're separated. Like initially, his face is covered, and it's like Wilson from Home Improvement. And it says, it's easier for me to like open up to people when I can't see the the bottom part of their face. That's a weird hang up you have there. It says, yeah, I was talking to Wilson and Earl Hines. So initially, the Mike Beck character, he thinks, oh, is that stupid Tom Hanks movie with the volleyball? And he's like, I like Tom Hanks. It's like they're in this conversation with each other, just kind of mentioning Castaway and the Wilson volleyball. So they actually did mention both Wilsons in one.
I feel like it's impossible to hear that name without thinking of this movie now.
So that was the one time they actually had a nexus of the two Wilsons. Technically, that one moment.
They should, in the remake of Castaway, Luke Wilson should play Chuck, and Owen Wilson should play Wilson.
Oh my God! He imagines the voice, or he does an impression of the volleyball talking. It would be a
wow, Chuck, you're doing such a good job at the survival thing.
Oh, Tim Allen's credit in that scene, though, is that he says, I miss Wilson. I miss a lot of stuff. I'm not doing it just the way he said that line. Seriously, it was like a genuine, just great moment. Said everything about like all his time on Home Improvement. It was really beautiful. Anyway, so Point being, we'll shad up between the Tom Hanks Tim Allen friendship within that. Yeah, so they discovers fire, and the primal survival kind of tools come from after Wilson. Think about it. He's got the fire, he's got a spear, he's starting to fish. He's not great at it, but he's starting. He has the cave paintings. He's slowly but surely turning into a caveman, and like all the
I mean, the
again,
fire definitely was a really good point to make that transition for sure.
yeah. Should also mention before we get to the big time jump thing, one last thing. So the brutal injuries that Tom Hanks endured here in this movie, and just in general, like with the staph infection, we see that bit where Chuck, he's trying to. So again, the tides being the make or break, the thing outside of his control. Otherwise, he could swim or sail off the island because he tries to. He tries to in the raft. I love we take the raft away from the way in which we take the raft away from him and stick him on the island. The wave takes him off the raft and impales his leg on the coral reef.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That would look so incredibly painful to me. And like, oh god, just that combined with however he got a staph infection, oh god, it's terrible.
Yeah, for sure.
So that coupled with his current problem of can't really chew anything like all the crab legs he has to eat, because of his dental problem. So he's got to remove that tooth.
I love how it gets set up too. Like it's so casual. Like, hey, the bad news is that I got to go see a dentist because my tooth is killing me.
Yep.
So I think that the tooth extraction is the most harrowing moment in the whole movie. I don't know about you.
No, I mean that in the plane crash, but
Well, yeah, the plane, of course. But I'm saying, I guess, out of all the island stuff specifically.
Sure.
Because it's just, I like, again, with the whole, like, he's verbalizing, but he's not having dialogue. Like, I
love how the camera is like pushing just enough away from it. You can like basically, it's almost like it's not actually doing it. So it's almost like all of a sudden, like, and just going back and forth. It's actually cleverly just going to the left, so we can go away from him like really brutally doing a number on himself, but we're just building the tension of like, oh god, he's about to chisel his own head into the into the thing.
Right, yeah.
But what's great about that moment though, and the magnitude of it that brings us into our time jump. It's the last vestige of his former problems and the only control he can exert before all control leaves him.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It's like the one thing he can take control of, and it's such like a big moment. Like it brings him to so much pain. He passes out from pain. That transitions us Endgame style to 4 years later.
It is very Endgame style. You're right.
So, technically, it is 5 years because it was New Year's when he traveled. So it kind of it's practically New Year's when he traveled. So really, it's 5 years. But anyway. So our time jump, Tiki. Go love out on it.
Yeah, I mean, like I just think the most effective thing about it is just like the visual storytelling of it all. Just like, I mean, I love the transition. The fish, like the spear and everything. Like we don't see him right away, but when we see him, the first shot we get of him, it just so clearly to like the 4 years later, and then the physical appearance. It tells you all you need to know. Like we do not need to see any like a minute more of screen time of him between the tooth extraction and this moment, because visually that cut just tells you everything. It tells you everything that he's been through, all the hardship, and just the fact that like he's a seasoned like pro at this now. I don't know. There's just so much depth of storytelling here. Like it communicates so much in just one quick character reveal.
It's basically, Tiki, when you boil the movie down with that transition, what we have is that, and we sum it up so perfectly, right, when he walks out, is that Act 1 is all about survival. Act 2 is about escape. It's about the exodus from the island, the return home. That's essentially how those two break down. So you're right there. He doesn't have to worry about survival the moment we see him, and that moment with the fish conveys all. Like, okay, he's good at this. He looks like Tarzan. He's all good here. Mm-hmm. Like we don't have to worry about him like figuring out the coconut.
Exactly.
I mean, somehow he survived 4 years with just what he's got. So I mean, it's been 4 years and he's not dead. So okay, he's probably going to be okay, but he's definitely homesick.
Mhm.
Anyway, yeah, so he's basically in the eyes of the why. You probably wondering why people probably wondering well, why the weight loss. Well, he's on a diet of seafood, which is this is
I mean,
here.
are people really wondering that?
I mean, I think
That's a stupid thing to wonder. Like,
I
obviously, your diet is going to be different.
well, no, not why he's losing the weight, but I mean like why it was so important for him to lose the weight in the movie and have it be, like have to take the 2 years off and everything. Like, why would it be that much of a.
Oh, I mean, well, honestly, I feel like I just answered that with the whole like, like you don't get that visual reveal if it's just the beard. It's like
Yeah.
because it is. Let's face it, he is a little bit tubby in the first.
Well,
half.
that was on. He gained weight for that though. That was
Yeah. Right.
He wanted to
So
look
it's
as cozy and just 90s as a man who's age 40 as he could be in Act One.
So no, I absolutely think that the weight loss, I think, honestly makes all the difference. I mean, because it's like we've seen characters like, we've seen time jumps with beards before, but we really haven't seen something of this magnitude with both the facial hair and the weight loss, like just those two things. So I really do think it makes all the difference.
It's a logic of like a diet it's gonna be some starvation, but beyond that, it's gonna be mostly as a guy who's existing on seafood and just whatever he can find on like fruit and seafood and God knows what else. Which, by the way, this brings me to another thing, and you're more island educated than I am on certain things, so I wonder if maybe you can like. We never address like he's not killing wildlife in the movie, and I don't know how much of that was like we don't have to worry about wrangling animals on the movie or not, but how much of that do you think is there like such I mean, could it be just only sea life and there's no animals on the island? Is that a thing? Maybe you think?
That's a good question. I think a big part of it is, yeah. I mean, it's possible that there's just no, like, it's hard. It's hard to like. Usually, like one of the big things.
Are there islands like that?
What?
Like, are there islands like that where just there's like only sea
Well, I
life?
mean, if you think about it, like the smaller the island, the less of a population it's going to have overall, not just as far as humans go, but as far as wildlife goes. One of the most popular, one of the most common things that an island would have is boar, and boar is notoriously hard to hunt.
Well, yeah.
So I don't know. Honestly, Dragon, I think it's one of those things where if I were to guess, I'd probably just say, um,
We don't care.
just I feel like they probably just didn't address it just because, like it would have just been an extra element that they would have had to address.
I mean, I kind of like that we don't have that factored in because it would have been a whole nother like, okay,
Well, that's what I'm saying. I feel like it was a storytelling choice more than anything else.
okay. All right, let's see. Plus, it's gonna be another thing too of like you're gonna have to bring in the whole ethical thing if he's gonna have to like to murder an animal, but by the same token, it's like it's survival. But then again, can he safely cook an animal he just killed? And it's like if he's not a hunter, like he doesn't know how to do any of that stuff. And it's been 4 years, but anyway. Yes, it was probably for the best. Anyway, okay. That was always like the one question I really had about Castaway in terms of like, so yes, there are no like how big an island was it? That kind of stuff. All right, so I always love this detail. I love that he gave Wilson crazy hair too.
Yeah, for sure.
Always like the cute little detail of age on Wilson and everything that you. So at this point, Wilson he went from just kind of like the cute little kind of like soundboards. That's the thing. So Wilson serves as like it's kind of the same reason Batman has Robin to some degree. I know it's very reductive to Robin, but what I'm getting at is like sometimes you have a main character and you have to give him a soundboard so he's not just all internal monologue or talking to himself. And that's why we have Wilson involved, as I've already said. But again, we have his like kind of a cutesy thing he does, and now he's like full on like psychodrama with the volleyball. Where the volleyball is personifying his pessimism and like all of his doubts about getting off the island and all the things he's doing wrong in his attempts to get off the island. Wilson, the relationship is kind of sour at this point, but there is care for Wilson after like he gets angry.
That's the thing. It's almost like it's almost like a couple that's been together a long time, where it's like. He genuinely cares for Wilson, but at the same time, they're going to have their spats. They're going to have their arguments. But when they have their arguments, he instantly regrets it. He instantly apologizes. I mean, it's like there's such. And again, I'm sorry. I feel like I keep repeating myself here, but it bears repeating. Like it's become such a point of parody with this movie, but there's so much humanity in it. Like Wilson is what gives this character pretty much all of his humanity in the island stuff. Like it's like, I mean, think about if
We
this
get an
movie
insight to where
was,
Chuck is
like
mentally.
think how much this movie would lose if we didn't have Wilson. It would just be the survival stuff. It would basically be like fucking, the Bear Grylls, like man versus nature shit, if it didn't have Wilson. Like Wilson is like the narrative, dramatic, like freaking tentpole of this movie.
Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah, I'm with you. It's almost like it kind of takes me to Gendy Tartakovsky's Primal series, where that's a character who does not speak and he's paired with a silent dinosaur. So a lot you could do, silently, but if you take away like the other element that needs to play off of, even if it is a silent element, you're still like, even if Tom Hanks didn't talk to the volleyball, you need that him interacting with that, with that other force,
Right. Exactly.
because otherwise it's just going to be a lot of like, you can only get like so much. It's going to drag
Like
on.
I said, I mean, it's you definitely give it to Hanks for sure. Like Hanks is obviously the performance is great, and like I mean, you are not lying, you are not exaggerating at all. It goes to show that he can, he can act off of literally anything.
And that volleyball was difficult, by the way, because he wouldn't come out of his trailer. Tiki, there were days I heard that he would not come out of his trailer. It was a whole thing.
But I want to emphasize, though, it's not just the performance; it's very much the writing as well.
No, for sure, yeah.
Because it's like it really gets you into the headspace. I feel like Wilson shows up at the perfect time where he would be kind of starting to crack and need something like Wilson to keep his sanity as far as like the timeline of the movie. Then obviously with the like, because think about it, Dragon, like it's a fucking volleyball, and yet there are legitimate like emotional stakes to the relationship. Not just whether he's going to lose Wilson or not, but the actual relationship that he has with Wilson. There are narrative stakes there. I mean, that is just super impressive writing in its own right.
I still love the way they played the bit where, he gets into argument with Wilson and just in a fit of anger, we all kind of do, he grabs the ball. He grabs the ball and he throws it and then like in the split second, he realizes like, oh my God, I just threw away my only friend. Oh, okay, Wilson! He's looking for him. And then we have this great money shot, the Zemeckis money shot, where it's like in the foreground, we see Wilson, and you see him looking for him, not finding Wilson yet until eventually. It's great. I love that. Anyway, yeah, so we discover the Bakersfield porta potty door, which changes everything. It gives him, he's been trying to triangulate where he is.
From everything I know about Bakersfield, California, the porta potty, yeah, that pretty much sums up that town.
More or less, yeah. The toilet. So, so the point being that gives him a jumping off point. We've seen Chuck's kind of a smart guy. He tried triangulating his location and everything, and ultimately it did. He builds the raft to escape using the porta potty as well. And again, he's living and dying by the tides, which are, again, he's relinquishing control with the tide.
Yeah, I think the way we shoot the tides, too, is just so cool. The way he keeps, like, coming up over the tides and, it just, they get progressively bigger. It's very cinematic the way they do it.
And of course we had like the cost of Wilson, where he finally got off the island, but at the cost of like Wilson.
Okay, well let's break down, first of all, before we break down that scene, let's break down the score.
Yeah.
My one problem with the score, Dragon, is that like I think it is an emotionally effective piece of music, but I think it's a little saccharine. I think it's a little like stuck in the 90s. It feels a little stock. Like it's not an earworm. And at a certain point, I just kind of feel like they literally keep playing the same like emotional bit of the score over and over again. It gets very repetitive, I think, as we go into the third act. Like I think the third act is good. Like honestly, like I found the third act as an adult. Obviously, I find the third act more compelling than when I was a kid. Because when I was a kid, the movie basically ends when he leaves the island, right? I'm like, why are we back to the adult stuff? This is boring. But as an adult, I appreciate the third act a lot more. But I don't know. Do you have that? You probably don't, I'm guessing.
Do I have a problem with the score?
like what I mentioned about like it just being a little bit repetitive.
I'm with you. It's not the most, but again, there's not only so much opportunity they have given the score is kind of sparse.
Yeah,
That's the thing, Tiki. I mean,
yeah.
I'm with you. It is not the most. It's not Alan Silvestri's best. Let's be honest. I mean,
Mhm.
the man did Avengers. Okay, it's kind of only I mean, he's Avengers and back, but not just the Avengers, Back to the Future. He's got he's one of the top composers, short of a Williams in a corner.
Oh.
He's like he's the guy. So yeah, he it's not the most ambitious score, but it gets the job done. And again, for a movie that only needs so much score, though, did pretty well.
I guess my main issue with it is just the fact that it's just the one theme that just gets recycled over and over again for the most part.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
But
I don't think it's a deal breaker, but you're not wrong.
It's not a deal breaker at all. It's just I would have liked to gotten like a little bit more variance on it.
Sure. I mean, look, I mean, a part of me like would wonder, nothing against Silvestri. I'm just saying, like, a part of me would wonder, like how would like Thomas Newman like approach like the score for this movie, and to some degree, like, would there be a varying,
or even like a Hans Zimmer, because I could see Hans Zimmer giving it more of a gravitas.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
Like for me, I'm thinking like Thomas Newman, like from Road to Perdition, kind of that kind of Tom Hanks movie, like that kind of like anyway. But again, you don't want to overcredit with music. It's kind of think about it. Let me put it to you this one last thing.
That's why I think Hans Zimmer would have worked, because Hans Zimmer can really come up with some very, very impactful stuff that sometimes with Zimmer it barely even feels like music, but it's very impactful. Like obviously the Inception thing is the first thing that comes to mind.
Well, let me hit you with one thing, then we'll move on from the whole score thing. All right, just the example that comes to mind with what this movie is going up against. Just now, in the moment, I realized this. I was thinking, it's kind of like the Dave Porter rule. Dave Porter from the Albuquerque-verse, Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, especially Breaking Bad, though. Dave Porter's greatest strength in that show is he knew when to not use score, because obviously they had the music.
That's very true. Yeah,
they had the music for the montages and the sequences and the time elapses down pat. They had that. That's actually it's music they've cleared and everything. But Dave Porter, and he plays a role in that. Don't get me wrong, but Dave Porter, like knowing like we don't use, for example, like okay, we're not going to use the score heavily aside from like the opening Breaking Bad theme until crawl space, that kind of thing. If you're looking at an episode, it's like we're going to wait till the crawl space moment to employ the score. Like it's not about waiting for the right moment to play the music. So.
And that is absolutely the biggest strength of the score. It's not the music composition itself; it's the when to use it.
Yes,
that stands out in the movie for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of like that Adam West Banana. Like when the time is right, you'll know.
Oh God. Oh God, Family Guy used to actually be funny. Anyways,
just as Dave Force walks into Vince Gilligan's office and hands him a banana. When the time is right, you'll know.
Oh, thanks, Dave. I'm going to use this to make a sandwich.
Oh, thanks, Dave. I'm going to eat this in my lunch. Anyway. So I guess the separation of Wilson being the cost of.
And you know what's funny is Dragon. I was straight up like, because obviously I knew it was coming, but like, I was so invested in the Wilson stuff, like on a rewatch. Like I said, the whole like you are genuinely like it's not just the separation; it's the actual relationship that you're invested in. So I got to tell you, man, when this moment comes, when it's like when it starts out with him asleep on the raft and it just happens so casually. And like I said, it's not that you're crying for the loss of the actual physical object. It's more so just it is very, very powerful that it's almost kind of like psychologically like this is what he has to give up in order to fully make that transition back into the real world, if that makes sense,
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Because again, it's gonna think about this too, like from a practical standpoint, what you're saying. If he gets back there and he's like cradling the volleyball, it's gonna
exactly, yeah.
It's just gonna, it's just like, hello, Kelly, this is my friend Wilson. And they gave him a haircut and everything, made him look presentable. It's not gonna.
Okay, hold on. I kind of feel a stand-up routine coming with this. Like, what if Wilson survived Castaway and that was the happy ending? Just Tom Hanks and Wilson just living happily ever after.
No. That's the thing. Though. Here's the thing: you have the alternate ending to Castaway, where okay, so it ends pretty much the way he goes, but then he gets back in the car after the crossroads, and he says, "Well, Wilson, that's where we're going there next." See him buckled up and everything. Where it's like, okay, he lost the girl, but he's got the volleyball.
Maybe this girl won't think we're crazy, Wilson.
Yeah.
All right. Oh God. But yeah, no, seriously though. I mean, like I said, the Wilson thing, like I don't know. It's such an impressive bit of writing, just because it's like, it's his way of keeping his humanity. But it's also him losing grip on his sanity at the same time, It's like, it's such a double-edged sword when it comes to... It's such a complex relationship with a damn inanimate object. It's the single most impressive thing about the movie for me, from a writing perspective, at least.
Yeah. So, I get it. There's one it's a quibble with Castaway. I want to get your thoughts on it.
Okay.
Honestly, it's not even an opinion. I'm just curious. Like, how do you feel about the whale?
Yeah, no, I don't. I'm not really that
random?
big on
Does
it.
it just kind of come out like a why do we need the whale?
Comes out of nowhere a little bit. It doesn't really affect anything all that much. It's very obviously CGI. Yeah. No, I feel you. I mean, it's in so little of the movie that I don't really think it matters that much. But yeah, it's one of the things I could point to, and it's like, if I were re-editing this movie, I'd probably just snip that whole bit out. If I'm being honest,
I do love the idea that he almost slept through his rescue. Where they have like the boat.
Well, that's the thing. I do think the whale is there, like, thematically. I think the whale is there in the same way. Like, it serves pretty much the same purpose as the angel wings on the package, right? It's just kind of like a divine intervention sort of thing, almost.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
No, I'm still like the next morning, like he's like the boat is passing him by, and it's almost like, look over there, Chuck, turn around.
Right.
Moment,
like an American Tail moment.
Yeah, it's almost like it. I love that we don't. This is great. I love that we don't go through the minutia, like, oh, you got to help us. We just cut to go from like the boat shows up, he wakes up, to on the plane.
You know what? One thing I would have liked to have seen, though.
I'm with you. Okay, I think we're about to say the same thing. Okay,
him seeing himself in the mirror.
Oh, you know what? We're in the same ballpark, and yours might be better. I was gonna say, I think you should have had more tension when he's back on the plane. We didn't show that.
We showed it. Just the only thing we get is like him kind of gripping the armrest a little bit. But yeah, you're right.
That's to me. I mean, I was initially expecting on the rewatches, like, okay, we're gonna play a little bit of the trauma, like being back on a plane, but we did not have that. That was kind of surprised me.
I kind of feel like at that point it's just sort of like the trauma of the plane crash isn't really the point.
Because the whole thing is like, actually,
honestly, I kind of feel like one of the points of the story is like the plane crash is just the beginning. Like after what he went through on the island, the plane crash almost kind of feels like the afterthought of the whole ordeal. You know?
Yeah, I just. No, yeah, see, it makes all sense. That I was remembering something from the behind the scenes that just occurred to me right now when you said that. It's like, yeah, it's I forget if it was Tom. I think it was Tom Hanks who said this too on the thing, where he basically mentioned, like, had he been rescued after that plane crash, he would have gone home and just been like, okay, that he would have been traumatized from that plane crash. But again, based on the 4 years in the island, he's it's a whole other, it's a more positive experience by the end of it, because it was like a survival thing. He got over like the initial loss of life and the trauma and everything.
Exactly.
So,
what do you think of so this is kind of an interesting thought experiment, like, because you're right, it is kind of impactful, visually impactful, to see him like go from like the crazed, like, wild man look to like, oh, now he's Tom Hanks again. But I don't know, I kind of feel like, that if we had a scene of him looking at himself in the mirror and shaving and getting the haircut and everything, Hanks would have acted the hell out of that.
Oh, of course. I mean, it would have been maybe a Captain Phillips moment, possibly.
Exactly. So what do you think of that? Like, I feel like you do get the emotional impact of the reveal, but at the same time, I don't know. What do you think? Where are you
Honestly,
leaning?
T, I think there are there's a great wealth of missed opportunity potential for stuff between him getting on the rescue boat and on the plane, specifically him getting back on a plane again, and
Do you think it's
elements
more
like
of a pacing thing than anything else? Because obviously we're gonna have to go through, basically like a whole act worth of story once he gets on the mainland. Do you think it's like we just literally don't have time to linger on it? Like we have to get to the story back on, back in the United
I
States?
think it was a conscious choice so he didn't run long. I think that's it.
Yeah.
I
I
really
feel
do.
that.
So yeah, so I like the bit though with like the coworker who is trying to help the sick wife and like just realizing all the times past she passed away and everything
Hmm.
and him breaking the news. Like I love the irony of like he's telling him, well, you're legally dead. We bury you. What did you? I love Tom Hanks's reaction to.
Which, by the way, I'm surprised this didn't get brought up. We have to talk about the trailer, dude.
Yeah,
Because that is one of the lines that's in the trailer. Like, you were declared legally dead. Like, we literally see the friend give that piece of exposition to Tom Hanks on the plane in the fucking trailer. It's like, are you kidding me? Like, I don't. We don't have to linger on it, dude. We just have to acknowledge that is one of the all-time worst trailers ever. It
I
literally spells out the whole movie.
I blame that on Fox not having faith in the movie. That's what I blame that on. I blame that on Fox. Like, okay, we got to make sure people like know what this whole movie is taking forever is going to be. It's like, no, you idiots, you're ruining the whole. Why? This is why you did. This is why it did. It was so close to winning because you make moves like that. Come
I
on,
mean, if
Fox.
anything, though, it's like it takes away the selling point of the movie.
Yeah,
Because the selling point of the movie is like, how is he going to survive this? And it's like with the trip, it's like, oh no, he's fine.
yeah.
So yeah, just baffling that trailer was the way it was.
Anyways, I loved how Tom Hanks plays like the headiness of the whole, like just like almost like a laugh of just like, well, what did they bury?
Hmm.
It's like you see your Elvis CDs, a few things. It's like, oh man, it's great. So here's honestly, Tiki, in the history of Castaway, when this movie came out, and I guess over the years, I don't know if people's opinions have changed on it or not. It's interesting to get our takes on it, I guess. But it's the whole thing. A lot of people have divisive opinions on the end of the movie, both ends of the movie. I mean, the general how things shake out with Kelly, and then of course the crossroads ending. So I guess with that, like, how do you feel that he gets to the airport? But real quick, we have the real life FedEx, like the head of FedEx at the time. He's like the guy like on the news broadcast, like welcoming him back and everything. That's the real head of FedEx.
Fred Smith.
Yeah, I think. Well, that's the real Fred Smith. Yeah.
Okay, you know how I remember that name
How do you remember that name,
is
Tiki?
because that is also the name of the mayor of Buena Park, which is the city that Knott's Berry Farm is in.
Well, that is him.
And the only reason I know that is because fucking Podcast The Ride did a Buena Park rap that mentioned current mayor Fred Smith.
Hmm.
So yeah, very niche bit of knowledge there. Anyways, I'm sorry. That was very much a
But
me.
yes, that was Fred Smith, Tiki. The real Fred Smith.
Because literally when I heard the name Fred Smith, I like my mind literally went to like current mayor Fred Smith. Anyways. Oh god.
Anyway, yeah. So anyways, we had the real. So he gets the welcome. I like that we play it very kind of almost clinically, where it's like he is there. He's focused on. He's told on the plane that she moved on and you were legally dead, and already. So we kind of hit him with a gut punch on the plane. And then he's just in the waiting area, and he doesn't know what to expect. He's expecting her, and just they kind of like have this kind of his closure, I guess. And we play like the whole Chuck the hero, and we see on the little TV on the side. And this is great Zemeckis. This is kind of a Zemeckis movement the directing. He's done this sort of thing on Forrest Gump and everything, where you have like the historical moment, like the welcome back and everything. But again, it's so underplayed. Like that's not what our focus is right now. It's not about the whole Chuck, you hero of FedEx, you're back and you're alive. Thank goodness.
Uh-huh.
Because they even hyped up on the plane. This is like, okay, look, you smile, but then we're gonna let you see Kelly.
Right.
So, oh, by the way, there was a Forrest Gump Easter egg. It was really cute. When he's on the plane, would you like another Dr. Pepper? Is it
I did notice that, yeah.
very cute? Just want to throw. It's a very cute little reference. Anyway, so Yeah, this is where we start to get into like that divisive thing here. Where so I'm still a little bothered by. I think I'm fine with everything else, but I am bothered by the fact that I completely forgot about this. Kelly sent her new husband is who, by the way, I think some people make the misconception here. This is not his dentist. This is a colleague of his dentist, of Dr. Spaulding. It's not Dr. Spaulding because that would just add insult to injury. Chris Noth here, he plays like the new husband who was also a dentist,
Wait,
and
no,
he made.
he literally says he did a root canal on him though.
Wait, he did. He said that he did the root canal.
Yeah,
I thought he said he
yeah.
was like a colleague of
Because
Dr.
no,
Spaulding.
literally, when Hank walks in, he's like, "You probably don't remember me, but I performed a root canal on you a few years ago."
Ah,
No, it is Dr. Spaulding.
I don't really.
I'm
I don't know.
pretty damn sure,
I
Dragon.
think if you check the credits, he's not going to be listed as Dr. Spaulding. You might
Eli,
be right about the line, but that's it. You might be right about the line, but I don't think that's Dr. Spaulding. I think
but
it's
like
too neat.
logically, it's not.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
the thing.
know.
I don't.
All I know is that he was at some point Chuck's dentist.
Okay, but I know he is a dentist. I don't know if he's Chuck's dentist, but that line, I missed. I guess I missed that line. Maybe you're right, but I don't think he's Dr. Spaulding though. Anyway, so
How
point
much you
being,
want to
so
bet?
I'm not. I can't bet with you, Tiki.
To IMDb.
Meantime, we have a news update here. Fred Smith has passed away in June.
Yes. Current mayor
Eli's
Fred Smith or
which
FedEx CEO Fred Smith. I mean, obviously, it's if he's dead, he's not current mayor, but I digress.
well, former current mayor,
Yes.
or I guess concurrent mayor.
All right. Anyways, go ahead.
Point being, a Fred Smith has passed away. Eli has killed another person. So
Wow.
let's see. Anyway, the point being, the move that this dentist has done here, the fact she sent
No,
him
you're
out.
right. It's his name is Jerry Lovett. So yeah, you're
Told
right.
you.
It's not. Yeah.
But that root canal, I don't know if you're right about that root canal line or not, but we have no way of really. Anyway, the point being, her sending him out, and it just feels like such a jerk move. And it's a complicated situation, but still, he's been stranded for 4 to 5 years. I mean, the debate was, frankly, it's 5. The point is, he's been stranded for 4 years, and she needs more time. She needs more time.
I'm not gonna lie, the whole timeline in general of how fast she moves on it bothers me a little. Not that she's moved on to someone else, but the fact that she has like a whole established family, like she's had time to meet this guy, get like have a proposal, plan the wedding, have the wedding, and have a kid who's like probably like 2.
Yeah, that's the thing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's like it tells me that she moved on probably within the course of a year, which that doesn't sit well with me. I'm not gonna lie, that character, the whole Kelly character, like the motivation is fine, the motivation is there for sure, but I kind of feel like it's fitting that he doesn't end up with her because really she is kind of like a nothing burger of a character outside of just being the motivator for him.
Yeah. Yep, I love that he sees her though. I love that he can see that she was there, but she didn't have the courage to go through with it.
Well, I think that's like the most fucking like that's the biggest slap in the face of all. I think the fact that she's physically like right there, but she just cannot face him.
I like seeing the messiness where she was gonna go back in because she felt guilty about it, then the husband stopped her because it's gonna be too very, very much an awkward situation. Like, no, don't go back in there. So ultimately, visits her in the rain. The whole this is like another cute little bit here. The whole how much time will I think gave him like a $10 bill. How much will this buy me? This is like 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So they have the conversation. He visits her in the rain, and basically they have this heart to heart. Basically, he gets closure here, where she admits that she didn't want to move on, but everyone kind of convinced her to do so, and it's a sad thing when that happens.
I mean, again, maybe like I've been single.
This
for
is this is the divisive part with the audiences, but they really felt like there should have been reconciliation. Like, where do you come?
Like I said, I've been single for 15 years at this point, and honestly, like it's kind of one of those things where it's like for me, like being single for a few years, it's like fucking cry me a river, dude. It's not gonna kill you. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of where my attitude is with it, as far as just like she moved on. Like, and I mean, Dragon, this is probably like my asexuality coming out a little bit too. It's like, I just think like it's one of the things that does rub me, like, it doesn't rub me the wrong way that he doesn't end up with her. It rubs me the wrong way how fast she moved on from him.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, and just the fact that she was literally pressured, like, oh, you got to move on. You got to be with another man, you know, because God forbid you're single. Ooh, I don't know. Anyway,
but I think it was more like grief. They wanted, like, okay, look, you can't dwell on the grief. You have to accept that he's dead, kind of thing. Maybe it's less about like the whole relationship thing. More, it's more about like.
I would hope so, because I don't know. I like that. Like, I like that society is not like so hyper fixated on relationships. Unfortunately, they're fixated on casual sex, which I also don't like. But I digress. This isn't my therapy. Let's move on.
Wasn't the best Leah Thompson movie. I think it was like Victoria Jackson. I think it was. Anyway, and also Andrew Dice Clay was in that one. Anyway, let's see. Oh, by the way, Lil Blue Reviews said the Fred. I think it was my Fred Smith.
I think so.
I think the FedEx Fred Smith. I'm pretty sure. But your guy's okay. All right. So, anyway.
Like I said, I know him from literally one line of a fucking parody song from a podcast.
I love that the conversation, it goes to like, it goes full circle where, you know, when their last scene together was in his car, so we're kind of bringing it back to, she gives him his car back and he invites her in the car, and that's where they kind of have their big emotional closure moment, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, I get the sense that she is almost willing to, like, you know, like, I'll blow up my life. I want it. You know, I owe you that. And it's like, no, you have to go home. Which again, his whole thing is about getting home in the first place with the island. So him saying that to her, you know, it's good acting.
Mm-hmm.
So then we have we see him having trouble making the adjustment. He's like in the hotel and everything, and he's trying to sleep. Like many war veterans will tell you, obviously it's not a war veteran situation, but it's a trauma. It's like a strandedment. It's, you know, basically anyone who's been through like a experience like this, you know, he's like sleeping on the floor at first. You know, he's flickering the lights. You know, he's replicating the environment he was stranded on for 4 years. It's an adjustment period. You know.
Yeah, very realistic for sure.
You know, imagine a short film with Tom Hanks like going into like a sporting goods store and he's just like, you know, looking at these buying volleyballs in the regular. You know, they're like the thing, but like Chuck's just having a bad day. He's just like, back to Dick's Sporting Goods. And I'm all like, oh, hey, Mr. Nolan, hey, you have a new game coming up? Yeah, something like that. Just having a bad day, you know. Just he's like, he's eating cereal, eating dinner on the couch. It's like a TV dinner or something. It has like a tray pulled up with the volleyball next to him. Anyway, so he gets closure with the delivery. So with the delivery of the box of the wings on it, he's. I love that we deny him like initially it looks like the person's not home and he just leaves this package saved my life. I love that gesture, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But so he has like that chance encounter with the lady, and then we see like the icon on the back of the Jeep or the back of the vehicle, and then how do you feel about the crossroads, Tiki? The ambiguous ending of like, where does he go?
Like I said, I like it a lot more as an adult now that I can like fully like read into the message of it. I like it a lot, honestly. I like the ending a lot. I like the ambiguity of it. I like it's bittersweet, but I think it's more hopeful than sad.
For sure.
Yeah. And honestly, like I said, the fucking like the Kelly character, it's like kind of a little bit of a fuck her energy, if I'm being completely honest. Like, I don't know. I really hung up on this.
A lot of people felt that way though, Tegan. That's the thing. A lot of people, here's the thing. I'm more just specifically for that airport scene. That's where
right. Yeah.
The rest of it's like, well, what do you expect her to do after a while? And if everyone's saying he's dead, move on with your grief. It's like, well, you know, especially this is in the '90s too, where it's like, you know, like open-mindedness was not like, you know, single life was actually a thing too.
Dragon, I'll never forget an episode of Friends where it's like, oh my God, Monica hasn't had sex in a couple months. God forbid. Anyways.
Where's John Favreau when you need him?
Oh, Jesus. All right. Okay, so yeah, I think we've pretty much ran the gamut. You want to get into what we're thankful for?
Well, Tiki, I'm thankful for Tom Hanks just proven his merit as an actor with the volleyball, man. Seriously, Tom Hanks just again this movie just really went to show you, you know, how great it could be when you strip all the usual tools of the actor away and you put him in like kind of like not an unsuitable environment. You put him in just kind of like a rough environment, and you just again we have basically two Tom Hanks movies for the price of one with this, and they're both really great movies. And I think that's quite the hat trick that Zemeckis and company pulled off, and I was thankful that he had the foresight just to kind of like he had like a casual thought and he pursued it into a movie that almost won the Oscar. Almost at least almost won him the Oscar for never mind Tom Hanks. He's already got two. He's fine. He's already got two Oscars. I think he's got 5 nominations in total or something. He's fine, but still, he's if he had gotten this Oscar, he would have put the volleyball on top of the Oscar or something, would have impaled it with anyway. So the point being, it would have been a nice thought, but still, I mean, but yeah, but Tom Hanks also, he actually is. It's a rarity. I forget whether actor. I think Spencer Tracy had this. He won consecutively. He won. It was for. Anyway, that was Forrest Gump. I don't know if it was Philadelphia and Forrest Gump.
Yeah,
it was Philadelphia and Forrest Gump. That's what he won for. Anyway, point being, Tom Hanks just proved just how great he was. I'm just glad he pursued this thought and just made like the definitive Island movie. So just top marks all around. Again, not my definitive Tom Hanks movie because there's a lot of great competition there, but it's certainly just a testament to how wonderful the man is as far as his acting prowess goes. Like purely, as an actor.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely. I think for me, it's like obviously the Hanks stuff is great. Like I think it's definitely one of his definitive performances. But for me, it's like I just think it's just like I said, the storytelling element of it, the rich themes, how effective the flash forward is, the characterization of the inanimate object. Like it really did a lot to kind of shape my taste in like I said, it's like film. If Jurassic Park is a movie, this is a film, if that makes sense, So yeah, this movie, like going back to it, I literally have not watched this. I'm pretty sure I have only ever actually sat down and watched it the one time in theaters. And this is, like I said, this is one of the first, it's got to be one of the first adult movies that I ever saw in a theater. Like, as in, like, this movie was not made for kids. It's not a cartoon. It's not fucking like Flintstones and Viva Rock Vegas, which I saw like 4 times in theaters for some reason, It's like, this is a real ass, like, adult movie. And so, and it's very formative in that regard. It is very formative, and I'm definitely thankful for that. All right. So big thanks to Little Blue and Kogios for joining us in the comments. We hope that you've had a very good Hanksgiving. And that's it for this Hanksful installment until we return next year with another heaping helping of Hanksgiving.
Wilson, pass the crown.
Oh, come on, Wilson. Come on.